जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astottara Satashri Srimat His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astottara Satashri Srimat His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nantakoti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrind Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrind Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet, Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We continue reading from Sri Isopanisad. I'll read the invocation. Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adhaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. Translation. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because He is completely perfect, all emanations from Him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes, which is produced by whatever is produced by the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because He is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from Him, He remains the complete balance. Today we will be reading mantra number 9. I'll read the mantra and the purports later after that. Mantra 9. Adam tama pravishanti ye avidyam upashate tato bhuya eva te tamo ya vidyayam rata. Translation. Those who engage in the culture of nascent activities shall enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ulmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Satadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschata Dishatharine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavbhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation to Mantra 9. Those who engage in the culture of nascent activities shall enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This mantra offers a comparative study of Vidya and Avidya. Avidya or ignorance is undoubtedly dangerous, but Vidya or knowledge is even more dangerous when mistaken or misguided. This mantra of Sri Isopanisad is more applicable today than at any time in the past. Modern civilization has advanced considerably in the field of mass education, but the result is that people are more unhappy than ever before because of the stress placed on material advancement to the exclusion of the most important part of life, the spiritual aspect. So we may remember, especially Srila Prabhupada, when he went to New York in 1965, 1966, and as the movement began to grow, he would question the most sober people of America. Or he would tell them that when I came to America, I saw all these young boys and girls. They became hippies. They were sleeping in the street. They were unkept. Normally they're very bright and beautiful, but they looked terrible. How has this happened, or how is this happening? And he would question them that you have the best educational facilities in the world. All the big universities are there, like Princeton and Harvard. But how come these young boys and girls have become so dissatisfied? They have dropped out of the mainline society. How is this happening? And they practically had no answer. And he would say that this spiritual knowledge is missing. And the first aspect of spiritual knowledge is that we are not these bodies, we are spirit, soul, temporary living in this body. And if we don't have this understanding, then we lead to what is being spoken in this verse, nascent activities. Activities based on sense gratification. We just cannot give up our illicit desires to enjoy this body. Because we only think in terms of this body, we are like animals. Therefore, when it's so important, we'll find practically on every page of his book or in every book, Prabhupada is stressing, we are not this body, we are not this body, we are not this body. We are a spirit soul, we are eternal servants of Lord Krishna. So when we have this knowledge, then we can raise our consciousness. We will learn to control the senses. We will force ourselves to say no. Because the senses are so strong, especially when this body is young. It is just driving us to enjoy in so many ways. And this leads us to entanglement in this world. which is so dangerous. It not only affects you or the person that you're involved with, but the entire community, the entire nation. Prabhupada would also say sometimes that now government is forced to have social welfare departments, police department, crime prevention department, is because people, they cannot give up their illicit desire to enjoy this body. And as a result, it entangles them and it brings so much problems to practically the rest of the country or the rest of the world. So, and this is the first point of understanding how we are placed into niscient, or we are forced to carry out niscient activities because we think we are this body and we simply want to enjoy this body. Prabhupada continues, as far as Vidya is concerned, the first mantra has explained very clearly that the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of everything and that forgetfulness of this fact is ignorance. The more a man forgets this fact of life, the more he is in darkness. And in view of this, a godless civilization directed towards the so-called advancement of education is more dangerous than a civilization in which the masses of people are less educated. This education theme is actually what Prabhupada is presenting to the world, spiritual education. Of the different classes of men, karmis, jnanis, and yogis, the karmis are those who are engaged in the activities of sense gratification. In the modern civilization, 99.9% of the people are engaged in activities of sense gratification under the flags of industrialism, economic development, altruism, political activism, and so on. All these activities are more or less based on satisfaction of the senses, to the exclusion of the kind of God consciousness described in the first mantra. Prabhupada continues, in the language of the Bhagavad Gita 7.15, people who are engaged in gross sense gratification are mudas, asses. The ass is a symbol of stupidity. Those who simply engage Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Yashoda Damodar ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Gaur Hari ki jai, Tulsi Maharani ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The ass is a symbol of stupidity. Those who simply engage in the profitless pursuit of sense gratification are worshipping avidya, according to Sri Isopanisad. And those who play the role of helping this sort of civilization in the name of education are actually doing more harm than those who are on the platform of gross sense gratification. The advancement of learning by a godless people is as dangerous as a valuable jewel on the head of a cobra. A cobra decorated with a valuable jewel is more dangerous than one not decorated. In the Hari Bhakti Sudhodhaya 3.11.12, the advancement of education by a godless people is compared to decorations on a dead body. In India, as in many other countries, some people follow the custom of leading a procession with a decorated dead body for the pleasure of the lamenting relatives. In the same way, modern civilization is a patchwork of activities meant to cover the perpetual miseries of material existence. All such activities are aimed towards sense gratification. But above the senses is the mind, and above the mind is the intelligence, and above the intelligence is the soul. Thus, the aim of real education should be self-realization, realization of the spiritual values of the soul. Any education which does not lead to such realization must be considered avidya or nescience. And to culture such nescience means to go down to the darkest region of ignorance. So here Prabhupada gives he gives the answer to these nescient or sense gratification activities. Prabhupada says, thus the aim of real education should be self-realization, realization of the spiritual values of the soul. Any education which does not lead to such realization must be considered avidya or nescience. And to culture such nescience means to go down to the darkest region of ignorance. Again, we can understand a little from Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna, who is a Kshatriya and is meant to fight, when he saw his relatives on either side of the battlefield ready to kill each other, he put his bow and arrow down. He became naturally a devotee. He was soft-hearted and he refused to fight. And then he began to give so nice reasons to Lord Krishna why he should not fight. How can he enjoy the kingdom that's tainted with blood of his relatives? If all the men die, there'll be no one to protect the women. And if women are not protected, they'll be exploited and there'll be unwanted children. And if all the elders die, there'll be no one to guide the younger generation. So in this way, Arjuna was giving so nice reasons why he should not fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. So after hearing these arguments or reasons by Arjuna, Lord Krishna indirectly calls him fool number one. You're speaking very learned words, but you fool number one because you are thinking in terms of this body. See? Everything that you do is in terms of this body. Krishna says, the intelligent lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So this is the beginning of our education, is that, and then Krishna begins to explain the science of the spirit soul, the values of the spirit soul, who we are. What's the difference between a dead body and a living body? So this is very important to understand. The first point again is that we are not this body, we are eternal spirit soul living in this body. And from that point we can make advancement in spiritual life. Prabhupada continues, according to the Bhagavad Gita, mistaken mundane educators are known as Veda, Vada, Rata and Mayaya Aparita Jnana. They may also be atheistic demons, the lowest of men. Those who are Veda, Vada, Rata pose themselves as very learned in the Vedic literature, but unfortunately they are completely diverted from the purpose of the Vedas. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, it is said that the purpose of the Vedas is to know the personality of Godhead. But these Veda, Vada, Rata men are not at all interested in the personality of Godhead. On the contrary, they are fascinated by such fruitive results as the attainment of heaven. As stated in Mantra 1, we should know that the personality of Godhead is the proprietor of everything and that we must be satisfied with our allotted portions of the necessities of life. The purpose of all Vedic literature is to awaken this God consciousness in the forgetful living being. At this same purpose, and this same purpose is presented in various ways in the different scriptures of the world for the understanding of a foolish mankind. Thus, the ultimate purpose of all religions is to bring one back to Godhead. But the Veda Vata Rata people, instead of realizing the purpose of the Vedas, is to revive the forgetful soul's lost relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, take it for granted that such side issues as the attainment of heavenly pleasure for sense gratification, the lust for which causes the material bondage in the first place, is the ultimate end of the Vedas. So again, we see the lust. These people, they consider, again, simply gratification of the senses. Work hard and maintain your sense gratification as the ultimate end of the Vedas. Prabhupada continues, such people misguide others by misinterpreting the Vedic literature. Sometimes they even condemn the Puranas, which are authentic Vedic explanations for laymen. The Veda Vata Ratas give their own explanation of the Vedas, neglecting the authority of great teachers, acharyas. They also tend to raise some unscrupulous person from among themselves and present them to the leading exponent of Vedic knowledge. Such Veda Vata Ratas are especially condemned in this mantra by the very appropriate Sanskrit words Vidyayam Rata. Vidyayam refers to the study of the Vedas because the Vedas are the origin of all knowledge, Vidya, and Rata means those engaged. Vidyayam Rata thus means those engaged in the study of the Vedas. The so-called students of the Vedas are condemned herein because they are ignorant of the actual purpose of the Vedas on account of their disobeying the acharyas. Such Veda Vada Ratas search out meanings in every word of the Vedas to suit their own purposes. They do not know that the Vedic literature is a collection of extraordinary books that can be understood only through the chain of disciplic succession. So this is the secret of success, to be following the bona fide Guru Parampara or disciplic succession. Prabhupada continues, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master in order to understand the transcendental message of the Vedas. That is the direction of the Mundaka Upanishad 1-12. These Veda Vata Rata people, however, have their own acharyas who are not in the chain of transcendental succession. Thus they progress to the darkest region of ignorance by misinterpreting the Vedic literature. They fall even further into ignorance for those who have no knowledge. They fall even further into ignorance than those who have no knowledge of the Vedas at all. So Prabhupada ends with the final purport. The Maya ya Aprita Jnana class of men are self-made gods. Such men think they themselves are God and that there is no need of worshipping any other God. They will agree to worship an ordinary man if he happens to be rich, but they will never worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such men, unable to recognize their own foolishness, never consider how it is that God can be entrapped by Maya, his own illusory energy. If God were ever entrapped by Maya, Maya would be more powerful than God. Such men say that God is all-powerful, but they do not consider that if He is all-powerful, there is no possibility of Him being empowered by Maya. These self-made gods cannot answer all these questions very clearly. They are simply satisfied to become God themselves. So you'll find also in New York, when Prabhupada established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, when he signed the incorporation documents, he set the purposes of ISKCON, the 7 purposes of ISKCON. So we'll read the first one, which deals with this, the topic that's presented, which is knowledge and education. So Prabhupada writes, or the first purpose of ISKCON is to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate all people in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. This is the first purpose Prabhupada has established. There's 7, this is the first one, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate. Knowledge and education. And you'll find at the end of this first purpose, Prabhupada is saying, the goal of this, of us trying to propagate spiritual knowledge and to educate people in the techniques of spiritual life, Prabhupada is saying, to achieve real unity and peace in the world. So immediately, Prabhupada is so practical, he's thinking of what to do now in this world. He wants to achieve real unity and peace in the world. Often he would quote or mention the what they call the United Nations. They are trying to achieve unity in the world. But when you go to the United Nations building, you'll see hundreds of flags of different nations. You know, each nation is coming with their own agenda to the United Nations. So they're always fighting. We want this, we want that, we want that. And now we see there's wars from one country to another. So how can they achieve real unity and peace? So this process that Prabhupada is presenting through, especially through his books, he often says that, Krishna sent me here to write these books, which is a fact. And we know Prabhupada would get up at midnight and he would translate the books wherever he went. But he did more than that. He established places like temples where people could come and hear the philosophy. He established deity worship where you can practice. He established the morning program where you can chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So many things he did more than what he was actually sent to this world to do. So this is the first purpose that Prabhupada wants, is to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate all people in the techniques of spiritual life. And there is a nice pastime in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is very important. Krishna appears again. Krishna came 5,000 years ago, but Krishna, to carry out that final instruction, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. No one knew how to follow this instruction, is to give up everything else, give up all varieties of religion and just surrender to Krishna. So Krishna appears again as Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago, and he said his life is a practical demonstration of this final instruction. And during his pastimes as Lord Chaitanya, he has a very nice conversation with a great devotee called Ramananda Rai. And he discusses the most esoteric subject matters, especially the conjugal or the intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and especially the position of Srimati Radharani, which is very exalted. And during this conversation, Lord Chaitanya asks Ramananda Rai a very nice question. On one occasion, the Lord inquired, of all types of education, which is the most important? Of all types of education, which is the most important? Ramananda Rai replied, no education is important other than the transcendental devotional service of Krishna. And we'll read here Lord Chaitanya, he glorifies Ramananda Rai by saying that you, Ramananda Rai, are the limit of spiritual knowledge, especially when dealing with the activities of Radha and Krishna. That means there's no other higher authority than Ramananda Rai. And here Ramananda Rai is saying, no education is important other than the transcendental devotional service of Krishna. So Prabhupada, he gives a very nice example of devotional service. And he quotes the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was a young boy born in a demoniac family. His father was a great demon, and his father employed demoniac teachers to teach him all these demoniac qualities. But he was naturally a devotee, born as a devotee. And once his father, Hiranyakashipu, asked Prahlad Maharaj, what did you learn? Can you share what you learned from your teachers? And Prahlad Maharaj replied, I'll read it, it's very nice. Shri Prahlada Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Achanam Vandanam Dashyam Shakyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumshar Pita Vishnu Bhaktis Chen Nava Lakshana Kriyate Bhagavati Ada Tan Manye Aditam Uttamam. Very famous verses. Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming His servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto Him. In other words, serving Him with body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. Complete knowledge. If we know what Prahlad Maharaj is saying, and Prahlad Maharaj himself is saying, this is how should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired the most complete knowledge. Prabhupada gives us nice direction in this purport as well from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, verses 23 and 24. When Prahlad Maharaj was asked by his father to say something from whatever he had learned, he considered that whatever he had learned from his spiritual master, the best of all teachings, whereas what he had learned about ordinary diplomacy from his material teachers, such as Sanda and Amarka, were useless. So this is the best advice, to become a devotee of Lord Krishna. And to end, we'll just read a few verses from the Bhagavad Gita. Very famous verse. How to receive the mercy of Krishna so we can become learned. Tesham eva anu kampartam aham agyana jam tama nashayami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhashvata. Krishna says, to show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Simply take shelter of Krishna. Krishna is saying, I am in your heart. I will destroy the ignorance. So this is how we can become knowledgeable. And then we'll read the final verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse 19. I'll read the translation. Krishna says, "Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without doubting, is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service unto me, O son of Bharata." Samshaya is a very important word. Without doubt. Very important. In the beginning, everything goes nicely, but when there's difficulties or reversals, we'll have doubts and we'll drift away from our spiritual practice. So this is another determination we can try to develop, is to never have doubts. Always pray to Krishna in a humble way. I'm the most fallen. I'm full of doubts. Please help me. And as you say, we've read the previous verse, Krishna says, I am dwelling in everyone's heart. And I will destroy the ignorance born. I will destroy with the shining lamp the ignorance born of the darkness. Hare Krishna. I will stop there and you can add on to the class. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki. Oh,
Thank you, Radhika, Jivan Prabhu. I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned the verse, we shouldn't lament for the living or for the dead.
Yes.
But I'm just confused because the devotee, although he doesn't lament because of his own difficulties, he laments because of the other souls who are forgetting themselves in sense gratification, and they're in that way they're still lamenting. So I'm a bit confused.
Yeah, actually that what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, it's in terms of our being attached to this body. So we should not lament for this body when it's living. When it's living, it's subject to all the difficulties, birth, death, old age and disease. And when it's dead, you know, there's nothing we can do. The body is buried, and it becomes a feast for the worms, and the body is burnt, and it's turned into ashes. So Krishna says we should never lament for this body, and he's explaining to Arjuna the difference between the body and the soul. But when a devotee laments, para dukkha dukhi, that lamentation is totally spiritual, because he's like soft-hearted, and now through the knowledge that he has gained, he has that lamentation. But an ordinary person is simply lamenting in terms of this body because he wants more sense gratification. But when a devotee laments, he wants to bring that person out of ignorance. So it's different. One is material, one is spiritual. So that's quite an advanced stage to lament, to see the suffering of others. It's a very advanced spiritual state. So there's a difference between what Krishna is saying and the lamentation that you're talking of.
Thank you, Radhika Jivan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.